Welcome back to Rock and Roll Travelogue. I'm Buddy Bob, got my traveling cap on, my driver's cap, and we're out to look for the artists of the 1950s through 90s. And we're still in Chicago today. This is where some of the greats performed over the years. Some of them were at the early days of rock and blues in the 50s and the early 60s. But today, I want to talk about the band that's probably the biggest ever from Chicago. So we're going to track the history of Walt Parazater, his longtime friend Terry Kath, Danny Seraphin, and Lee Loughnane. They were all Chicagoans. They'd met while attending DePaul University in Chicago, and they were in a band called the Missing Links. Now, Loughnane had this idea of putting together a rock band with horns. And that meant they needed some more players that could play horns. So he recruited a trombonist from St. Louis by the name of Jim Pankow. By the way, Jim's brother is the comedian and actor by the name of John Pankow. I find him quite talented and very funny. Well, anyway, back to the band. They weren't finished filling out the band yet because they still needed to provide for more band members that would give them that unique sound that they were seeking. So they heard a piano player they soon recruited. His name was Robert Lamb. He grew up in Brooklyn, but he became a Chicagoan after a few years. So now they had 6 band members, and they would change their name to The Big Thing. They played their first gig together at what was Gigi's Go-Go. This was located behind this landmark in Lyons, Illinois. Now, this landmark, very famous. It's called the Hoffman Tower in Lyons, Illinois, a western suburb of Chicago. And it was right behind Gigi's at what was 8030 Ogden Boulevard in Lyons. It's an apartment building today. Well, you remember in an earlier episode of Rock and Roll Travelogue, we were in Niles, Michigan, where the guys played a big week-long gig in early September 67. This was at the famous Shula's nightclub, and they got reacquainted with a college buddy named James William Guercio, who ended up producing them in their big years, by the way. So later, in 1967, they wound up as the opening act at Barnaby's on State Street in downtown Chicago for a very well-known band called The Exception. Now, Barnaby's, pictured here from back in the day, was the biggest club band in the Midwest. So a big gig for these guys. There were 6 of them at this time, and they were the opening act for The Exceptions. So they played their set, and then they stayed around to hear The Exceptions, and they were just blown away. They got to talking with some of the members and ended up recruiting one of them. This man became the 7th and final member. His name, Peter Cetera. Cetera, also a Chicagoan, and now the big thing was complete. A year later, they'd become Chicago Transit Authority, inspired by the city of Chicago's mass transit operation. And soon after that, they renamed themselves for the last time Chicago. For more, check out chicagotheband.com. In 1969, the song Questions 67 and 68 was released as a single, and these guys were off to the races. 11 number 1 songs, 5 number 1 albums, 5 gold singles, and over 100 million record sales worldwide. Peter Cetera would become the most successful solo artist. He had 2 number 1 songs, one Glory of Love in 1986, and the next one, a duet with Amy Grant called The Next Time I Fall. That was done in the same year, 1986. Also had duets with Cher on a song called After the Fall, and fellow Chicagoan Chaka Khan sang with him on Feels Like Heaven. Well, Chicago the Band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2016, but Cetera refused to attend. One of the original members, Terry Kath, who unintentionally shot himself fatally in 1978, well, his daughter represented the family at the induction ceremonies in Brooklyn, New York. Wow. What a band. The biggest ever from Chicago, Chicago. Got to bounce now, but the next time on Rock and Roll Travelogue, there's still much more to see and stories to relate right here in the Windy City, Chicago. I'm Buddy Bob on Rock and Roll Travelogue, and until next time, good heart and stout luck.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.